Razorback Nation, what is up? We're back with you again with episode 73 of Hogs on the Hill, your go-to podcast for an in-depth dive on all things Arkansas Razorbacks, and we are brought to you by our lovely sponsors over at Razor Pigs. Looking good never felt so fun. Razor Pigs is the Arkansas-born brand, bringing some serious style to the golf course, the tailgate, and everywhere in between. From high-quality polos to head-turning hats, they've got what you need to rep the natural state with pride. Found it right here at home and now run by a Razorback loving family. Razor Pigs is where comfort meets cool. So go hog wild and shop Razor Pigs today at razorpigs.us and our friends over at Scarlet Letter, Arkansas's very own handcrafted spiked seltzer. You can check them out today. And if you are in Northwest Arkansas, check out the Core Brewery Tap Room, where you can get Scarlet Letter and all its various flavors on tap, as well as their new hard teas. As you can see, Austin is repping one of those fantastic Razor Pigs hats that we just talked about. So go check them out today, and you can get one just like that, or you can get a red version as well. So it's Thursday. It's, week after the bye week. Basketball is getting into full swing. We've got the, as I've titled the episode, it's Battle for the Golden Boot. It's Golden Boot week here this week in college football for Arkansas. So how are you feeling tonight, Austin? Hey, buddy, you're on mute.
My bad. Said I'm happy to be here, to be honest with you, but it feels weird because I didn't get to watch this basketball game this last week because Disney is out here trying to, jingle every last cent out of our pockets. So, that's nice. But I'm happy for this week. I'm hoping to be able to get a free trial because I'm not paying for other stuff. I got YouTube TV and that's what I'm sticking with. So, man, I'm excited about this basketball team, and this coaching search is great. And then also we have a football game this weekend that nobody really wants to watch. So it's it's two interim coaches going at each other, and no one cares. So
right, it's like I've said before, it's the Battle of the Boot interim edition. We'll get that here in a little bit, but we'll recap. So Arkansas got back on the winning track the other night as they took on UCA on Tuesday night. Got the win 93-56, so you win by 37 points over in-state school. I mean, you didn't expect anything less from this. You saw Malik Thomas get his first start of the season in this game too. Played 33 minutes, scored 17 points. And you saw a little bit of a shorter rotation here. You had guys spread out here, no Trevin Brazil, back spasms. So, you had Nick Pringle, Malik Ewan have to, play some more minutes, saw them play some together as well. But what was your overall thoughts of this game, other than Arkansas came out, did what was supposed to, got the win, but, overall, how this team played with minus no Brazil and seeing Malik Thomas get his first start?
So back spasms, is that what they're calling it? Is that why he flipped the towel at that kid in Michigan State?
Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it was something. Either way, yeah, that's unfortunate he didn't get to play. He needs something to kind of like how I think I'll go into it in a second, but he needs to have a game kind of like why am I forgetting his name? Carter Knox. He needs to have a game like Carter Knox had. I mean, 19 points, 10 rebounds. His first stats really of the entire season, he gets a double-double.
Right.
After not playing very well against Michigan State. So
on top of missing the season opener.
Right. But I think that is actually the story of this game is how insane Carter Knox is, right? We knew what he was going to be going into the season. It's just glad that we can actually finally see it happening. And it's not like he was bad against, Memphis and Cincinnati either. I mean, he took a back seat to Acuff and Thomas, but at the same time, we know this commodity, right? We know what we're going to get in him, and hopefully we'll see some more of that. But again, like we've seen every game so far, Acuff and Thomas are those guys.
Right.
They're the ones that are going to be leading Arkansas, which to a point, I mean, in offense anyway, but to a point, it's a little bit scary because, again, they're freshmen. We know how freshmen act. It doesn't matter if you're the best player in the country, you're going to have those freshman moments. What we need to watch out for is see how those freshman moments or how fast those freshman moments like go away.
Right.
And the good thing is most of the time they look super poised. They look like, 3-4 year guys. They look right. They're pretty much ready for the NBA. It's just those one or two moments. And the thing is, in big games, that can be the difference between a win and a loss.
Right.
So seeing someone come out like Knox, who's had a year under his belt, it's good to see him get that going.
Right. And he was one of the players that, this whole offseason, the story behind Thomas and Acuff, but he was the guy that, even before then, after the season finished, the way he came on last year, he was the guy being talked about as, he could be a breakout player in the SEC and college basketball this year. And if he, can come out and consistently put up numbers like this, yeah, why not? Play yourself higher in the draft because more than likely he's gone after this year. But you come out, put up 19 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from deep, 5 of 5 from the line, 10 rebounds. So like you mentioned that double-double, you have 1 assist. You also get a block and a steal in 23 minutes of play. I'll take that stat line every night along with, you saw Malik Thomas 17 points, Darius Acuff 21, Malik Ewan in double digits with 10 points. So, you have other guys filling in, like we mentioned, no Trevor in Brazil. So, some of the other guys had to step up in this game. Malik Thomas 17 points, 6 of 17 from the field, 4 of 13 from deep. Did not realize he took 13 threes in this game, but he's not shy about shooting it.
No, he's
1
not.
of 2 from the free throw line, had 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 steal. And then Darius Acuff leads all scorers with 21, 9 of 16 from the field, 3 of 8 from deep. No free throws. That's something that's got to change. We know how he likes to drive the basket, so I'd like to see him drive and get fouled more. He's adding in 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal in 34 minutes. So, these guys are continually getting better. But, that's something that, I think is going to be a work in progress this season. What I just mentioned is I don't see too many games in the future where Malik Thomas is going to be taking 13 threes consistently.
Yeah, I don't see that either.
Cal especially called that out after the Michigan State game. Was like, hey, you got to pass the ball. Talking about right there near the end of the game. He's like, DJ's wide open. You got to pass that ball.
Yeah. And well, the thing is, it's not like he's not passing the ball too, because he, I don't know if it was Michigan State or yeah, which he had 6 assists this game.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm pulling up the Michigan State game too, because I think he had 7 against Michigan State, and that might have been the previous game, but it's not like he goes out there and just hogs the ball the entire time. Now
right.
He's going to take his shots because that's what he is. He's a scorer, right? And it's kind of hard to like pull on that chain too much because, yeah, okay. So again, it's Michigan State. He only had 2, so it was a game prior to that. But it's hard to pull on the chain too much because you don't want to discourage that, because that's what he's here to do. But
right.
At the same time, you need to have better shot selection, right? Just have a little bit more of that, less of that freshman stuff and more of the,
just that poise,
upper class. Yeah, the poise, I guess. But I'm thinking like one of the best passers and assist makers in history is probably LeBron James, right? It doesn't mean he doesn't go out there and take his shots too. So
right, he still gets his, but
right,
he shares the rock and sets up his teammates as well. And yeah, that's the thing, it's going to be progress through the season. And to your point earlier, it's like how quick are these guys going to have less and less of some of those maybe freshman type moments, and that's going to be critical. I mean, we not putting the entire blame on that because there's a lot of other factors, but like we mentioned, when it comes down to big time moments, like in the Michigan State game, you kind of saw a little bit of the, hey, these guys are still freshmen. But overall, I'm not going to complain too much. I thought it was a good early season test. Yeah, it sucks that we lost, but you can learn a lot from that game, and I'm ready to see these guys continue as we get ready for Duke here in just a matter of 2 weeks. So, as they continue on here, but it was good to see Malik Ewan and Pringle get out there, combined for 13 rebounds between the two big men. And I just wonder how after that Michigan game that and we talked about that before the season started, is how is Trevin Brazile going to respond to having a bad game like he did, where he got in foul trouble, didn't get to play a ton of minutes, only scored limited points, and not saying his back wasn't really hurt, but to come out and not play the next game, you got to wonder. Hopefully, he's not getting in his head too much because for this team, I feel like to be at the peak or the max capacity of what they can be, you're going to have Brazile playing and firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I don't think this team does very good this season. And by very good, I mean like up to their potential. If Brazil doesn't play like he has been playing, and the thing is, he has the confidence. Like he knows it's there. He's just gotta get out of his head, stop doing stupid stuff like throwing a towel at some kid. Also, that kid's got something to tell his grandkid for the rest of his life, because Trevin Brazile is going to go to the NBA and be pretty dang good, I think. So, I mean, whatever. But at the same time, stop making stupid mistakes. Go out there and play your game, and that's it. That's all you got to do.
Right. Agreed. And so, hopefully we have him back tomorrow, ready to go, and he bounces back and gets not that he lost his confidence, just gets back in rhythm, especially because now you don't have 3 games to kind of get back in rhythm and figure out things before you get ready for Duke. And not that these guys are meshed, but you still got some learning moments for this team is between all these guys, especially your freshmen and your returnees. And so that's what I'm going to be watching. But at the end of the day, Arkansas comes out, does its job. Good to see Carter Knox have I hate to call it a breakout game because we know he can do this, but to finally see him play up to the level we know he can play, because you saw it at the end of last year. He comes out. I didn't realize he went 4 of 6 from deep in this game either. So, he's definitely improved that shooting from beyond the arc, which we saw come on late last season. And so if he can keep this up, he's setting himself up for, good success when it comes draft time after the season for himself. So Arkansas will be back in action tomorrow versus Samford at 7:00, another home game, as they continue to, tune up and get ready for Duke on Thanksgiving. And so, another team that, is projected to finish top of their conference in Samford. Just like a lot of these teams we talked about, they're, Cal's making a tough schedule. And even though it's not a big team like a Michigan State or a Duke, he's still getting teams in here that are projected to finish towards the top of their conference. So see them back in action. We'll see if Malik Thomas starts again, or if Brazile is playing and he gets inserted back in that lineup, or and even looking at Carter Knox is going to be starting, but I'm interested to see if we get more playing time out of Billy Richmond, because this is kind of one of the first games you saw him have reduced minutes. Yes, he still played 20 minutes, but maybe not as effective as when he plays 24, 25 minutes. So
right, and yeah, I think that they're still tinkering with this the
rotation,
rotation. So we're gonna see how it goes. But I think Carter Knox being back and being healthy, you're gonna see a little bit less of Billy. Because it's just a crowded front or backcourt, right? There's just not a whole lot of places for him to be.
Well, and this is what we talked about too after last year, that even though we hated to see him go, this is part of the reason Boogie left, is because same exact situation for him is it's like you've got DJ Wagner, Malik Thomas, and Darius Acuff. So where is his minutes going to come from? And so that's how it shook out. But yeah,
Right.
so hopefully they can figure out a good rotation where both these guys can thrive because Billy's a great player. You just gotta get the time, the minutes to get out there and show what he can do.
Right. By the way, I'm just looking at the stats. Did you know Malik Thomas has shot 32 threes so far?
I'm not surprised. Between 3 games.
Yeah. Hit 10 of them. So he's only at a 30% clip, but at the same time, it's like you keep jacking them off like that. Yeah. So.
And maybe that's what you need is a guy that's not afraid to get out there and shoot the ball and have a short memory and just keep shooting it.
Right. And to be fair, it's just been the last couple of games where he's kind of like not been super great. It was more against Michigan State where he only hit like 1 3 or 2 threes. So
right.
So yeah, it's I mean, I'm glad that we have a guy that's out there hitting threes like that, but at the same time, man, that's a lot.
I was about to say, yeah, it's like how much do we talk about we needed that last year and you just didn't have it, and now you kind of got a guy that can be that this year.
But that's part of the reason why Arkansas is averaging 89 points a game. So
right. And so as we continue on with basketball, yesterday was National Signing Day, and Arkansas basketball inked 2 of its players for next season with a potential 3rd on the way. That's still up in the air. We'll find that out on November 19th. But 5-star J.J. Andrews, the top player in Arkansas and top 15 player in the country, made it official, signing with Arkansas. Per all the different sports sites, ranking him across the board. All of them had him ranked number 1 in Arkansas. All of them had him as a 5-star, except for Rivals. And then overall rank, 24/7 Sports had him at number 11. ESPN has him at number 12. 24/7 Composite at 14. On3 at number 14, and Rivals at number 28. So we can tell who's the outlier here.
Yeah, which is weird because usually it's Jamie Shaw and On3 that doesn't like Arkansas
right
guys. So yeah, hey, if he's staying there good, then he's going to be pretty good. JJ Andrews, he kind of a late bloomer, right? Didn't really get that 5th star until just a few months ago. But he's got all the qualities you want. Like he's super athletic, super physical, 6'7", so good height. He's going to be a good forward for Arkansas, and then what's the other guy's name? Have you said his name yet?
Not yet.
Yeah. So let's keep it on Andrews. Plus, he's Sean Andrews. Is it just Sean Andrews?
Yeah, just Sean.
Yeah. So his dad was also, what do you call it? A football player for Arkansas. Did you know that?
Right. He was one of the most decorated offensive linemen for Arkansas that played from 01 to
Sean
2002.
Andrews. So it is. Okay, Sean Andrews. Yeah. So, yeah, one of the most decorated players in Arkansas history, went on to play with the Eagles and some other teams for a while. So, like, it's keeping that lineage. Even though it's different sports, keeping that lineage going. Plus, he's a 5-star. I mean, it's like perfect. It's just a match made in heaven with him.
Exactly. Running through some of his accolades, he was tabbed 13, 20, 25, 26 Max Preps preseason All-America, listed as the number 3 small forward on their website. He was the 24-25 Gatorade Arkansas Boys Basketball Player of the Year, 2025 Arkansas Democrat Gazette Arkansas Preps Boys Player of the Year, 3-time All-State pick. He led the Warriors to a 24-8 record in the Class 5A state quarterfinals, where he averaged 28.5 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 3.3 assists with 2 blocks. In his junior season, he scored 2,200 points. He was the MVP of this 2024 state tournament, was named top junior at the 2024 Nike Thanksgiving Hoops Fest. Led Little Rock Christian to state championships both his freshman and sophomore seasons. He's a 2-time champion of the Peach Jam tournament in the Nike Elite Youth Basketball. league, the EYBL. He earned EYBL MVP honors after the 2025 season, where he led Team Bradley Beal Elite to a 75-55 win in the championship. And to your mention, he is the son of Sean Andrews, who played for Arkansas football back from 01 to 03. But man, this kid has all the hype, all the accolades. Not to mention he's a home state kid coming to play for Arkansas and Coach Cal. So I can't wait till he gets here. It's going to, like, I'm not trying to rush this season by any means, but we've got Acuff and Thomas this year. Next year it's JJ Andrews and the guy we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah. Let's definitely not rush this one, because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty good. I mean,
right.
we had that one loss to Michigan State, but like, I think these next couple of weeks is going to really show whether Arkansas is going to be that team. And I just have a good feeling about it. No,
Yeah.
It might be a homer. I don't know, but yeah, I can't wait to see JJ Andrews, because it's one thing to be that star caliber type of player, but it's another one to actually have a reason to play for that university too.
Right.
It's kind of like Nick Smith. It's like, what would he have been if he would have, not been hurt?
Right.
And hopefully we kind of get to see that with Andrews.
Right. Next guy that Arkansas inked on signing day is two-time Connecticut Player of the Year, Abdou Tourié, out of Connecticut. Talk about these names getting all, very similar. You had Abdou Thiero last year. You got Abdou Tourié this coming in next year. But he's a 6'5", 205 kind of wing type player. 4-star across the board. Shooting guard positions. On3 and Rivals has him listed as a shooting guard. ESPN 24/7 Composite and 24/7 Sports has him listed as a small forward or shooting forward, however way you want to look at that. He is the 12th highest ranked prospect by ESPN that Arkansas has signed, ahead of the likes of number 38 Billy Richmond, number 45 Moses Moody, and number 47 Daniel Gafford. He is the 18th highest ranked prospect by 24/7 Sports. Arkansas signed ahead of the likes of Gafford and Moody. He was two-time Connecticut Max Preps Player of the Year. He also was a two-time CT Insider Player of the Year and first-team All-State selection in 24-25. He was named 2024-25 Connecticut Gatorade Player of the Year after averaging 25.1 points per game as a junior. He ended his junior season as the program's all-time leading scorer with over 1,400 points and helped Notre Dame compile a 52-2 record over the past 2 years, led the Green Knights to a 24-2 record and a Connecticut Division I state title as a junior, scored 27 points and 20 rebounds in that championship game. He also led Notre Dame to the 2024 state championship and a 28-0 record. As a sophomore, picked second team All-South Connecticut Conference player as a freshman. He played for BABC on the Adidas 3SSB circuit this year. Played for Guinea at the 2024 FIBA Under-17 World Cup and scored 50 points versus China. Had a double-double versus Australia with 36 points, 10 rebounds. His full first name is I don't even know how to pronounce it. Do what?
I said, you want to try it?
I don't know about that. But
yeah.
His father was a standout player at Hyde Leadership School in Hamden in the early 2000s. So, another highly ranked kid Arkansas has got coming in to pair with JJ Andrews. Cal not stepping away from his typical style too much and getting these, highly rated freshmen. But, he's going to work the portal as well. But your thoughts on Abdou Tourié?
Yeah, man. What's crazy is, like, we're sitting here and we're talking about him, and there's probably gonna be a lot of Razorback fans that see just the stars and be like, oh well, we're used to 5 stars, right? We're not, because like you said, he'll come in at what rank did you say?
Per ESPN, the 12th highest ranked prospect that Arkansas has signed.
Gotcha. So 247, he's 14th. So between BJ Young and I can't even pronounce
Gafford?
that name. No, but like you said, he's higher than Moses Moody, and a lot of fans like hold Moses Moody in that, like really not maybe not favorite player, but like high up players, right? That's kind of when Arkansas started to really get his mojo back, is with that class with Moody.
Right.
And then but it's so weird to think of that as a lower caliber guy when he's obviously not. But it's crazy the amount of riches that Arkansas had in the last few years is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
He's still going to be super good. I think he's going to be. I don't know how they're going to play him. I don't know if they're going to play him as a forward or if they're going to put him at the 3 or I don't know. But he's got good size and he can do kind of whatever you want. So that's just great to see. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the top 11, according to 247 Sports, recruits ever to commit to Arkansas happen since Anthony Black and Jordan Walsh's class. So
ever since just recently with Eric Musselman being here.
So 2022.
So in the last 3 years.
Right. The only 2 that are on here, according to 247 Sports, that aren't from 2022 or till now is Bobby Portis and Al Jefferson, which I don't think Al Jefferson actually ever played for us, did he? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, don't want to get too off topic, but
yeah, but I just think that's crazy. Like,
the
amount of success we've had in recruiting lately.
Right. And so, Cal's continuing on. The guy I mentioned earlier that, we're going to have a decision here in the next, 6 days is 2026 5-star Baba Oladotun. He's
Oladotun.
Oladotun, yes. He's a 6'10", 190-pound small forward out of Maryland, and he's going to make his decision on November 19th. And his Final Four is Kentucky, Arkansas, Maryland, and Georgetown. He's taking official visits to all 4 schools. He was at Kentucky from October 17th to the 19th for their blue-white game. He was originally one of the top players in 2027, and he reclassified. So he's a guy that's reclassified up 1 year. He's been playing 2026 all of his life except when he played 15s. He's a small forward, number 7 overall prospect, according to Rivals. Another guy that has the potential to pair with, J.J. Andrews and Adu Tourier, that could be, part of this next great Arkansas recruiting class.
Yeah. Great size, great length, great athleticism, all that stuff. To be honest, whenever we were talking about this last class with Acuff and Thomas, and we were talking about Ament maybe choosing Arkansas, but he decided to go with Tennessee. Having Ament would have kind of just tied that entire class together and made it like really, really good. I think that's what Baba can do for this class too.
Right.
Because you kind of got them all over the place. It'll be forward heavy, I guess, if you count Torre as a forward, but he could play that guard spot too. So I don't know. I really like it. It is kind of crazy that he isn't getting a point guard out of the or at least some kind of like normal guard to at least mold into a point guard, because I doubt Torre is going to do that. Um,
Right.
it's weird that he's not recruiting one. So it's kind of, we're going to see what he does if Acuff and Thomas both go, because Wagner's out of eligibility after this year. So
Yeah.
it'll be strange to see if he goes into the portal and gets a point guard.
Well, and I mentioned that Baba reclassified. Well, before he reclassified, he was the number one prospect in the class of 2027.
Right.
So, there's a lot of talent there. My only concern with him, I don't know for sure, but is that if with him reclassifying, it might be a little bit hard from a physicality standpoint for him being a little bit younger than a lot of the guys. But on the other hand, it gives him an extra boost to get started in his college basketball career.
Right. I think that's probably true. It's going to be kind of hard for him to really get his feet under. Now, if he can stretch it out, that's going to be better for him, because it'll make the spacing better and all that stuff. He could really thrive like that. But yeah, that is a big worry, especially whenever you got cats like Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan on the other side of the ball every single game. So
right. So fantastic things there. We'll see what happens on November 19th and see if where Baba decides to go. And so Arkansas basketball back in action tomorrow against Samford. As we continue talking about National Signing Day, before we get to talking about the LSU game, Arkansas gymnastics added another top 10 signing class for 2026-27. Gymnastics about to get started here soon, but they added 4 new members to this gymnastics program, and they made it official Wednesday, signing their commitments on National Signing Day. Those commits are Simone Brown, Tori Hess, Finley Scott, and Sabrina Viscontini. And their group of newcomers, they're currently ranked number 10 by College Gym News for 2026-2027. Simone Brown is a 5-star recruit. Hess and Scott are 4 stars, and Visconti enters as a 3-star. So, you've got a lot of talent coming in. Coach Weaver is continuing to build this program up. Simone Brown is from Southeastern Gymnastics. Tori Hess out of Elite Gymnastics Academy. Finley Scott out of AIM Athletics. And then Sabrina Visconti out of Noah's Gymnastics Academy. So you got those coming in for next year's class. And then finally wrapping up National Signing Day with Arkansas softball as they sign 5 new players to the roster. You've got Macy DeVere Boaz, who is a catcher infielder, Mia Johnson, infielder utility player, Ava Hodo, a catcher infielder, Katie King, an infielder, and Skylar Sterrett, a utility player out of Sheridan. So, Coach Dive will continuing to bring in talented players, and our women's sports seem to be on the up and up. What they haven't been. So, softball and gymnastics have been really good, as well as Arkansas soccer has been super consistent. And then it's still yet to be determined what Arkansas basketball is going to do with new coach Kelsey Music. They're in action tonight, taking on Southeastern Louisiana. But it seems like all of our women's programs are sitting in a pretty good spot. You've got solid coaches, bringing in solid recruiting classes. You love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about all day about the shortcomings of Hunter Yurchek, but that's not one of them by any means. Up and down. I mean, I think right now the worst program on campus, at least women's program, is probably volleyball. And at the same time, they've been relevant in the recent past. This year, they're not doing too good. But in the last couple of years, I mean, they made the tournament. They went a couple games into it. So, yeah, it's just great. I mean, the biggest success story on campus is probably one that people don't really talk about all that much, and it's soccer. Women's soccer is, I mean, they're incredible. Like every single year, there's turning out team after team after team. Hopefully this year they get past the Elite Eight. That's kind of been like where they're getting stuck at. So hopefully they'll get there. I haven't paid attention to the they're number 5 seed, right? I don't know where they ended up in the SEC tournament. I know they didn't win the crown, but at the same time, number 5, a 5 seed is not bad. So
yeah, they're the 5 seed and they're playing Dartmouth, and and soccer also signs 6 players on National Signing Day as well. Their class included 5 All-State selections, 3 IMG Academy National Top 200 players, 1 goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 1 midfielder, and 2 forwards. Jordan Bryant from Mesquite, Texas, played for Frisco Memorial High, FC Dallas, ECNL, was first team All-State 5A. London Green, a defender out of Sandy, Utah. Mackenzie Gwen, a forward out of Camarillo, California. Ivy Harding, midfielder forward out of Lone Peak High School in Lone Peak, Utah. Emily Jenkins, a goalkeeper out of North Bend, Washington. And Lauren Van Reen, forward out of Clayton, Missouri and Clayton High School. And so actually tomorrow they will be having their first NC tournament first round game against Dartmouth that will get started at 6:00.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you have, access to watch it, especially since it's a little bit before Arkansas's basketball game. So even if you don't get to watch all of it, you'll get to watch at least the first half, if not a little bit more of the second half. So yeah, you go support our ladies, and yeah, man, I'm excited to see what they can do.
Right. Yes, exactly. Go support them. Quick update for Arkansas women's basketball with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They're up 65-49 over Southeastern Louisiana.
So, yeah, talk about. I mean, like that's also a huge turnaround. Women's basketball. That's
yeah, they're 3 minutes away from starting the season 4-0.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. I like it though.
So, but to the point, our women's programs across the board are pretty solid. If in men's, baseball is always consistent. Basketballs, the past few years have been really consistent. And, if we could just get, and we'll talk about here in a minute, but if we could just get football on track, you're in a solid spot, because then you got track and field, both men's and women's sports. It's, dominates year in and year out. Like, all Arkansas, it seems to be missing is getting their football program up to par.
Yeah. That's basically, that's it. I mean, even tennis is, we've got some pretty good guys over there too. Like it's so weird that how Yurchek's built this athletic department. He's kind of like flipped it on its head. And just kind of drained football for everything, and then didn't really put much into it. It feels like that the tides are turning though. Right. And I think why that's happening right now versus, because everyone's going to tell you it is because they didn't believe in Sam Pittman. No, I don't think they really gave a crap that much, to be honest with you. But in 2020, in 2030, there's a lot of contracts that go up. And I'm talking about contracts between the ACC members and different conferences. A bunch of different things are coming together at that point to where maybe, and these are the rumors, that people are talking about a mega conference. And we got to start thinking about, does Arkansas football belong in that mega conference? And I can argue right now, no. They haven't been successful in over a decade, which is crazy to kick Arkansas out just for that last decade. But at the same time, you're going to have the big guys in there. They're going to choose what teams come in and what teams don't. Right. And that's why I think there's such a rush to get Arkansas right so they don't miss that boat.
Agreed.
Right? And I mean, I'm happy for it. The things I'm hearing about this coaching search are nice. Like, I'm like, hey, throw money at this program, make it to what it used to be. Because in the Southwest Conference, Arkansas was a powerhouse. It was Texas and Arkansas. Texas, obviously the top dog, but Arkansas was there. And it can be that again, maybe not at 1 or 2 level, but someone that can make the college football playoff at least.
Right,
compete for a national championship. Yeah. And I hate that it's coming to this point to where, hey, you're going to be left behind, if not, for people to start caring. Which,
right. Yeah. Which has been, it seems like the story, outweighing a lot of the good things Yurichek's done. It's like it seems like football's been left behind with a lot of things. Yeah. But we'll get into that in a minute. But, Arkansas will be taking on LSU Saturday. In case you missed the tweet by the football team, we're breaking out the white helmets this weekend, and they even switched out the red hog on the helmet with the white hog that's majority white with the red outline instead of red hog with a white outline.
First of all, I don't like that look at all. Secondly, those white hats are cursed. So, yeah, don't like that.
But Arkansas will get kicked off at 11:45 on Saturday against LSU. Arkansas 2-7 coming to this matchup. LSU 5-4 after, things kind of taking a downhill turn for them. Obviously, Arkansas coming off the bye week, but before that having the 38-35 loss to Mississippi State. LSU coming off a road loss against Alabama last week, 20-9. Coming in this game, they got Arkansas set up as a 4.5-point underdog in this game, which is, I can say it's surprising, but also I'm not surprised either, especially after what we have seen out of LSU these past few games. They're really struggling. They let go of Brian Kelly. Then now this week you get the news of the whole lawsuit dispute with now he's wanting his full buyout. Saw last week, later in the game, Garrett Nussmeier get benched. So there's a lot of factors going into this game that, at this point, I don't know what the heck to even expect or think of this game.
Okay, not game related, but you want to hear my hot take for the day?
Go for it.
Right now, at this moment, okay, caveat. At
8:21 on 11:13.
Right. At this very moment, Arkansas is a better job than LSU. That's my hot take.
Okay.
Because that is a lot of drama to be getting into. Right?
A lot of drama, a lot of pressure.
Obviously, I'm being a little hyperbolic here, but at the same time, I'm kind of not. Like, if I'm James Franklin,
have to as an Arkansas fan, but to your other point, being kind of not, you see everything going on with the whole Brian Kelly situation, and it just it's becoming a rolling dumpster fire, if you will.
Yeah, how are you? I don't know what the lawsuit is, but how are you going to fire him for cause whenever I don't know. They have to have some kind of dirt on him for it to happen. And then, if I'm James Franklin, do you really want to get into that?
Right.
No. You just came from a crazy place that fired you for winning the last decade.
LSU probably wants to claim their cause is because they were losing.
Yeah, they're gonna pull a Michael Scott on them. But yeah, and I just don't see the draw to it. I'm not saying Arkansas is the best job in the country, right? But at the same time, what would have been the best job is no longer the best job because their governor and their AD and all that, they're just, well, I guess he's no longer AD, but their board or whatever they have, governing body of the university, have really screwed this up.
Yeah, they're equivalent of the board of trustees. Yeah.
Right. They've really screwed this up, and it makes it look like it's not a very good place to go. I mean,
right.
This is one of the things that I think can really hurt their football program for the next few years.
Yeah. So looking at this game, my question coming into this game, and, more than likely not, but do you have a situation of who's going to be the starting quarterback? because you saw Michael Van Buren
Yeah.
get the start, not get the start, but come in, and Nussmeier get benched last week. And I think we all said it coming into the season, me, you, and Hobbs all, that we all thought Nussmeier was a little bit overrated coming into the season, giving him, ranking him one of the top, if not the top quarterback in the SEC and one of the top ones in the country. And I was just like, I don't see it. I don't know where these people are coming from. And now you're starting to see it, all season, they've got 5 wins, but a lot of those wins is because LSU, per part of the course, has a really good defense for the most part, and their offense has been lackadaisical. Like they're typical LSU when you think about defense, but then on the offensive side of the ball, it seems like they don't have any firepower. They struggle to put up points. Like last week against Alabama, they didn't even score a touchdown. They had 3 field goals. And so coming into this game, it's like, hey, who are you going to start? Who's going to be the starting quarterback? Who's this Arkansas team got to prep for? But also it's like, you got to feel real good because between the two teams, give Arkansas the edge on the offensive side. And then, of course, LSU gets the edge defensively. So, you got a high-powered offense versus a really good defense. And, if Arkansas can, score points and your defense can manage to get, Bobby Petrino said there's been some renewed energy this week. If they can kind of step up and get you a stop, I mean, this game's always close anyway, just because from the Arkansas perspective, this is a big-time rivalry game. This team gets up for it no matter usually how bad we are or how good we are. This is always a close game. Last year, I put an asterisk by because it was weird. But, before that, after the past 3 years before that, it was decided by a field goal.
Right.
Or one possession.
And here's the thing. Arkansas is not going to a bowl game this year, right?
Right. They got nothing to lose.
Right. These trophy games are their bowl games. That's what it is. Like, I'm saying the same thing with Missouri. I don't think Arkansas is going to beat Missouri, but I'm saying I don't
know. They might have a shot with them being on like their 3rd or 4th string quarterback.
Yeah, that's true.
But Arkansas also has the habit of making backup quarterbacks look like Heisman. So
yeah, that's true. That's why I'm thinking it doesn't matter who LSU starts this week. They're just going to make them look good because, I mean,
that's what we do.
If Nussmeier comes back in, guess what? He wasn't the guy who finished his last game, so I guess he's the number 2 guy coming off the bench now. It's just all that junk. I don't know. But like you said, this matchup is much better than what we've seen for most of the season so far. I thought that this was going to be the type of matchup that Arkansas had with Auburn. And to be fair, Arkansas screwed themselves in the end, right? Throwing all those picks and the fumbles in the second quarter or the second half. I think Arkansas probably should have, just talent-wise, all that stuff, beaten Auburn. I think that's kind of the way we're going to go into this game. The only reason why Arkansas should lose against LSU with all the troubles they're going through right now is if they screw themselves over.
Right. And so, looking at it yesterday, you had your first initial injury report come out yesterday, and listed on that for Arkansas, questionable. You had Charlie Collins out the first half of Larry Worth. We know that, of course, because of the targeting penalty called, before the bye week. Guys that listed out, the only one that jumps off the page to me that was listed out on Wednesday was Shaq McCroy. You saw him come off early in the game against Mississippi State. All the other guys have been out for the past however many games. But the new report the new person that appeared on the injury report for the first time is Braylon Russell is on their injury report coming up. So we'll see if he actually gets to play in this game. It would be a shame to not have him. But as we mentioned, McCroy, who he left the Mississippi State game with a leg injury, is listed as out. He didn't practice per Petrino. Defensive contributor Charlie Collins marked questionable. He has a bone bruise that he's working through. He's been part of our defensive rotation. So the one thing that is good, Taylor Green, who exited 2 weeks ago after that late hit that, wasn't called but should have been, that's another story for another day. He returned to full practice this week and is good to go, just showing no lingering effects. So we should be, and we should have center Caden Kittler and Amarian Harris back as well. They were not on the injury report in practice this week and are expected to return. So the biggest key for me to watch as we go into Saturday is, do you have Braylon Russell or not? Because, you have Mike Washington. I feel like it's a good 1-2 punch when you have Mike Washington with Braylon Russell that you can just interchange. We have Rodney Hill on the roster, but you haven't really seen him, and he's not really the same style as Braylon Russell. So, it's a part of the offense that, it would affect your play calling and how much you want to run the ball.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think through the air, they're going to be just fine, especially with getting Kittler and Marion Harris back. But yeah, having that second bruiser, that second guy who really likes to, hit the hole, run north to south, that's going to be, it's going to be important to have somebody like that there. But at the same time, like you said, they do have Rodney Hill, and I am a little bit surprised that we haven't seen more of him. I would think they would do a lot
more. You see
more
him on special teams or in the kickoffs, but other than that, you've got Cam Shanks that returns punts, so you don't really see a lot of them other than on that special teams.
Well, you don't really see Cam Shanks at punts either because we never force a punt. But
fair.
But I feel like they would have some packages for Rodney Hill, like two, what's it, 21 personnel or 22 personnel, something with two backs where you have one big one and one skinny one and do a lot of, passing stuff out of it. I feel like he would be a really good screen type of back, but you haven't really seen him, which if Braylon's out, I feel like they would do fine with it. I don't think that's going to change a whole lot about what they do. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And so, it's always going to be a fun game. I just hate that it's an 11:45 game. I always love later evening games in Baton Rouge, but at this point, no surprise that a 2-7 Arkansas team against a struggling LSU team that's got a lot of drama going on gets slated for the 11:45 slot. No surprise at all. So
yeah, like I labeled this on Twitter, the battle of the boot that no one asked for, or the Golden Boot game no one asked for, because it really is like, it's just kind of like,
at this point of the season, Arkansas fans don't care. They're just ready to get through the season so we can find out who the new coach is going to be.
Yeah.
LSU fans, they're trying to sort out all their stuff with Brian Kelly. I think they're just ready to get through the rest of the season as well. So
they're just waiting until baseball season so they have something to cheer about.
Right. Because then,
which is weird.
Right. Because, Jay Johnson and DVH round, whatever, we'll get to see again. But, so get ready for that on Saturday. It's going to be on SEC Network. I'm to the point where, like you were mentioning, if we get to Saturday and YouTube TV and Disney haven't figured anything else out, I think YouTube TV is about to lose a customer because I'm watching this game some way. So,
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing, right? I'm going out and I'm making X number of emails and doing X number of free trials. I ain't trying to give Disney a dime because they're predatory is what it is. And they're using customers as pawns in their schemes. So, and I don't mean to sound like the tinfoil hat type of dude, but that's what it is.
What is going to be your preferred free account to watch the game?
Probably Fubo or something like that. Like, I'll find some or Sling. Like I'm not doing the
Hey, you can
app
get the Sling Day Pass.
right. Like I'll pay a day pass. Heck yeah. But I'm not doing. I don't
About
think
that.
YouTube TV is doing anything wrong. If anything,
Right.
they're protecting your interest because they're trying not to make because YouTube TV is not going to lose anything. What
Right.
they're going to do is they're going to bump up your price and they're going to make you pay more per month. But it's not because they want to do it; it's because Disney wants to do it.
They have no choice.
So either way, you're going to get screwed out of something.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, it's in whichever side it is, it's unfortunate that with all this holdout, I think that they said the number of that it was around like YouTube TV's losing around like $5 million a day every day this keeps going.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot. But that's why I'm not even redeeming my $20. Like keep it because I want them to do fun. Like I don't think they're doing anything wrong.
Right. So the next thing we got to talk about here is the insanity that that this coaching search has turned into this week.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's been just kind of low key. And then all of a sudden, somebody just injects insanity into it on Monday where the number of people, part of the people joking, oh my gosh, I can't believe what Arkansas is about to do, blah, blah, blah. Brandon Walker of Barstool over there, had a little bit part to play in that. But, all these reports coming out saying, Arkansas has got their guy. It's not going to be announced till the week of the Missouri game, just in respect for these players and Petrino, that we put all this money into it. A lot of people was thinking James Franklin. I saw another media source, somebody say, Arkansas's got their guy. They're happy, but it's not who you think it is. Trying to throw off, whatever it is. So at this point, I don't know what to think. I still feel confident that it more than likely could be James Franklin. But let me pose it to you this way. At this point, with all this that's went on, at this point, if it's a swing and a miss and it's not James Franklin, do you say Arkansas messed up on this coaching search?
It depends, right? Because okay, so let's just backtrack, right? It all started with freaking Brandon Walker, who is, if anybody's gonna get people riled up, it's gonna be him, especially Arkansas fans, because he hates Arkansas fans.
Right.
At the same time, I believe he was told something, probably something he shouldn't have known, and people freaked out. Not just Arkansas fans,
across the country.
I think not just across country, but I think the people in the know freaked out because they thought he knew.
Right.
So, and the thing is, after that, it's smokescreen. Pete Nakos came out today with some stuff, said Arkansas doesn't even have a top 3, which it's a lie. Okay, Arkansas definitely has top 3 candidates right now.
Right.
There's no way they could
do a coaching search and don't have a top 3.
Right. Like maybe they are keeping their options open, but there's people that they're going after harder than others, right?
Right.
And the thing is, I think people got freaked out because it might not be a name that we know. Like it maybe not be James Franklin. It might not be Golish or Silverfield or any of these people. And it may be someone who's a little bit higher up, right? I've heard Lincoln Riley. Like,
please no.
Imagine if Arkansas pulled Lincoln Riley over from USC. That would be
I quit.
Talk of whatever. I've heard Dabo Sweeney. I've heard a bunch of different people here and there. I've heard people joke about Urban Meyer and Nick Saban, which obviously those two are not coming to Arkansas. But the Lincoln Riley and the Dabo Sweeney have a little bit of smoke. I'm not saying that there's actually fire there, but I'm saying that there's people talking about it. Yeah, it's just crazy. And the thing is, I don't think you would have seen this reaction if something weren't happening behind the scenes. Right. And I'm not saying that they're making deals or, they got their coach or anything, but I think somebody got a little bit close to the sun and someone decided to set something on fire somewhere else. so they got
Right.
attracted to it.
Well,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I think good things are happening. We just don't know what's happening.
Right. And for them to be like, oh, Arkansas's got their guy and they're happy about it. It's just I don't know. I don't know how that makes me feel because yeah, Arkansas may be happy about it, but not that doesn't mean the fans are going to be happy about it.
Right.
But you know the type of money they're talking about that's gotten thrown around for a contract. It's like if it's one of these not lower level, but one of these up and coming coaches, they're not going to get a ton of money. So that's telling me that it's got to be a big time coach, whether that's James Franklin or somebody. Again, like I've said before, wouldn't be surprised to see somebody out of left field that we're not even talking about that, you know, is being brought aboard. But, you know, it's also been talked about that Arkansas is also, along with James Franklin, has interviewed Jay Hill, who is the defensive coordinator at BYU, Will Stein, who is currently the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach at Oregon, and then Pat Fitzgerald, who is the head coach at Northwestern.
Let's just. I'll be right now. I'll put this on this podcast. If Arkansas hires Fitzpatrick, I'm going to quit being an Arkansas football fan. That is giving up. If you hire Northwestern's head coach, that is giving up. I don't think that's. I think they're just doing interviews for interview's sake. I think Will Stein is probably. I think, if Arkansas was in a position to gamble a little bit, I like
that. Could be intriguing.
But I don't think they're in position to gamble.
Right. You need as close to a sure thing as you can get.
Right.
And if you look at these coaches, in all these coach searches, the names that have been thrown out there, the closest thing to a sure thing you're going to get is if you hire James Franklin. That's my opinion.
Right.
But yeah, you mentioned that Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern. So he's a Northwestern guy through and through. Played at Northwestern and for 3 years. Was a grad assistant at Maryland, a grad assistant in Colorado, linebacker coach at Idaho, and then from 2001 to 2022 had a stint at Northwestern. So he went back as a DB's coach, then spent 2 years as a linebackers coach, a year as the linebackers and receivers coach, and then spent 16
Basically
years as the head coach.
Yeah. So, but the thing, no way, dude. That Northwestern wasn't good. There's no way. No way. No way. I'm saying a third time. No way that they should hire Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah. I mean, you look at his record. He's at Northwestern. He's 110 and 101. So a tad over 500.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, too, is it's like, people have been throwing it out there this week, too, is it's like, is there a realistic chance that if it is James Franklin, that they're working on a deal that they're trying to figure out a way to keep Bobby on as OC? Do you see that as a possibility?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a possibility. It just depends.
I mean, I guess anything is possible, but realistically, if you're a guy like James Franklin and you come in, do you keep a guy like Bobby on if he wants to stay? Bobby's made it clear that he loves Arkansas. He wants to be here. So would he be willing to, step back down, if you will, to an OC position just to remain at Arkansas if the new head coach would have him?
Well, if the new coach has him, I think that would be like trying to get him. But the thing is, I don't think you hold up a head coach announcement or head coach signing his contract for that reason, right? If you want James Franklin, it's more of a request than chips to or cards to play, right? You don't say, hey, we want you, but you have to do this. No, that's not how it's going to work, especially when you want a guy like James Franklin. It's more like, hey, we really, really want you, Plus, we have this kick-ass offensive coordinator. Would you like him to stay here? If so, we can try and negotiate with him.
Right.
Something like that. But it wouldn't stop people from talking about it. Like, I think more or less they're waiting till closer to the end of the season to, out of respect for Bobby Petrino and for these guys that are playing, because if they announce right now James Franklin is going to be the next coach at Arkansas, it's kind of like, like we're playing for a coach that's not going to even be here next year. Like,
right. And then how many guys say, all right, I'm going to sit the rest of the season too?
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know, man. I think good things are happening. But it is kind of like I said, like Fitzgerald would be absolutely the worst thing you can do. I'd much rather have Will Stein, and I don't think they can do that either. But like, I think at worst you end up with someone like Golish, and he's an up and comer. I think he's going to be very good. I think you want something more of a shorter deal, right? If you're out there, you're throwing this money around, you're trying to make it to where you're going to be in play for that, turn of events in 2030. You're going to want someone like James Franklin, someone that's going to be that short deal, and you're going to have to put your money where the mouth is.
Right. Somebody that could come in, not right the ship, but kind of just level things off and get Arkansas back to a consistent spot. And so it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, it's crazy how everything's been quiet up until this week. And all of a sudden you crank it up to 10 this week with all the insanity. So, we've got this week, and if the reports are true and they announce it the week of the Missouri game, then you're looking at 2 weeks before we know who the next coach is, theoretically. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it'll be, for like fans, it's super interesting. For the players, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it might get some of them excited. It also might get some of them like, man, I'm not going to be here. I'm not good enough for this coach, kind of thing, and that's not necessarily true either. I'm just saying, like, I know the way that some of these guys have come from those smaller schools, and now if you have an elite coach come here, they're going to be like, well, he's not going to want me, or blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like the Deion Sanders situation. I think that kind of ruined those big name coaches coming in and, having a hope of staying. So like, you want to keep that from happening as well. So I don't know. It's just a really weird situation to be doing it right now, especially since they're not going to a bowl game.
Right. And then the other thing, to talk about with all this is the news that came out today regarding Hunter Yurachek. Like, if he wasn't already out the door, the events today kind of helped solidify that it doesn't seem like the man's going to be here too much longer. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it was announced today, Hunter Yurachek is now taking the seat of the Baylor athletic director that's stepping down from the College Football Playoff Committee. So he is now on this College Football Playoff Committee chair. And it's like somebody posted just a few minutes ago. I saw, it's like, man, this guy's about to be real busy the next month if he's trying to run a coaching search and going to be on the College Football Playoff Committee chair. Like, I don't know. I mean, but when I saw that today, it's like, I don't know. It just makes me think that it won't be long before maybe there's some announcement with Yurachek, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, are they still going to have him there if he's not an active AD, though? That's what
True.
So I don't know. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it really does. The more and more I think about it, it feels like he's using Arkansas as a stepping stone, and he's got all these accolades behind him, like the most SEC championships over the last few years, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But then he like completely neglected Arkansas's football program. It just feels like he was using Arkansas as a stepping stone rather than trying to really, really build this athletic program.
Yeah.
Like with good bones. So I don't know. whatever for him. All I'm saying is, like, if things end ugly and he's still the chair of the committee and Arkansas actually gets to where they're going to be a college football playoff team or borderline, are they going to get the vote for it?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
an
know.
interesting thing to think about. But yeah, I thought that was interesting today that it came out that he was lobbying and had to be voted in for that chair today, and it went through. And so, to me, I'm looking at it as, I get you want to do things like that, but right now your sole main focus should be on this coaching search. But that also could tell me he's probably not that involved with the coaching search. Like, as we've heard the rumors out there that it's 3 prominent boosters leading this coaching search. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense, as in, like, he's not heavily involved. So, quote unquote, he has the extra time on his hands. But I don't know. It's a whole weird situation. And, I think things will become clear once we start figuring out who this coach is going to be and things like that.
I think he's about as involved as he was with Cal. Let's just say that.
I mean, that makes sense.
I think he's more like a mediator than, the actual.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, as we get ready to wrap up, before we do, we got to go in here and go through our weekly pick'ems. We updated you guys on Sunday where we were sitting at. Fortunately, no Hobbs this week to go through the pick'ems with us. But currently on the season, we're sitting at, I'm at 68-42, Hobbs is 65-45, and Austin is at 59-51. As we jump into these Week 12 picks, first game that we've got Notre Dame headed to Pittsburgh to take on the Pitt Panthers. Notre Dame sitting at ranked number 9 at 7-2. Pittsburgh at number 22, 7-2. Notre Dame coming off a win over Navy. Pitt coming off over a win over Stanford, 35-20. Spread is set at 12.5 in favor of Notre Dame in this game.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, College Game Day shouldn't have been here. It should have been Arkadelphia.
Agreed.
After that, I think it's Notre Dame all the way. I don't think it's particularly close, actually.
Yeah, I'm the same way there. Give me Notre Dame this one. It's an interesting one. Notre Dame is an interesting team. Pitt 7-2, both the same record. You look at the quarterback play in this game between these two teams. As Hobbs likes to say, you look at the quarterback play. Very similar stats between these two. Carr for Notre Dame, over 700 more passing yards, but not that many more touchdowns. Jeremiah Love, running back, obviously has over nearly 600 yards more rushing yards than Pitt's running back. So, I think it's safe to say I think Notre Dame is going to be able to easily take care of this one. As we jump over to the Big 12, you have Arizona headed to Cincinnati, Ohio to take on Cincinnati. So you've got the Wildcats versus the Bearcats. Arizona coming off that win over Kansas 24-20. Cincinnati coming off a loss to Utah 45-14. Their second loss of the season. Arizona is at 6-3. Line for this game is 6.5 in favor of the home team, Cincinnati.
Yeah, a lot of felines in this game. I'm going to go Cincinnati just because they're the higher ranked team and, they've surprised me the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, going with them.
Yeah, give me the Bearcats as well. I like their quarterback play with Sorsby. 2,000 yards on the season, has 21 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Really good ratio there, takes care of the ball. Now, not knocking Arizona's quarterback, he has 2,200 yards on the season with 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But, looking at these two teams, it's going to be a good matchup. Next, we move over to the SEC as Oklahoma is headed to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama. Alabama is sitting at number 4 at 8-1. Oklahoma at number 11 at 7-2. Oklahoma coming off that win against Tennessee 33-27, and then Oklahoma coming off a bye week as well, but Alabama having that win last weekend over LSU. Spread for this game 5.5 in favor of Alabama.
Yeah, Actually, I think this one's going to be pretty close. To be honest with you, I still like Oklahoma, but it's just like you guys. I don't mean to like piggyback off of you and Hawes, but the quarterback play is going to be super important in this game too. And John Mateer, I just don't think he's been the same since he had his surgery or had whatever done to his finger.
Yeah.
And Ty Simpson looks legit. He's probably, if not number one in the Heisman race, he's probably going to be. He's probably going to be there. He's going to be probably top three. He's a really good play caller. So I'm going to go Alabama with this one.
Yeah, 20 over 2,400 yards on the season, 21 touchdowns to 1 interception. Really good taking care of the ball. Alabama stumbled early on the season with that loss to Florida State, but since then they've had some close games, but they've been able to figure it out. And it's like they said, as long as Kalen DeBoer wears his black hoodie, they've had success this season. So give me Alabama to take this one too. Like you said, I have question marks around Mateer. Ever since he had that hand injury, he has 8 touchdowns to 7 interception. You're sitting at nearly a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And, they've had wins, but, they've all been very close wins for the most part. And to me, that doesn't exude confidence. As we jump over to the ACC, you have Virginia headed to Duke to take on the Blue Devils. Virginia ranked 19th at 8-2 on the season. Duke is at 5-4. Virginia coming off that surprising loss to Wake Forest, 16-9. Duke coming off of a loss to UConn, 37-34. Spread for this game is set at 5.5 in favor of the home team, Duke, which is a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, Wake Forest is coming out and getting a few people. That's kind of strange. But and I was really tempted to do Duke because it's at Duke. And Duke has done like 5-4, yeah, but they've had some pretty decent wins this year.
Well, and you look at the stats for Duke's quarterback too. 2,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, and they're 5-4.
Right. But at the same time, I just feel good about Virginia. I think they've got a good squad, and they're kind of like my ACC version of Vandy. So I think I'm gonna stick with the Cavaliers this week.
Yeah, this one has a chance to be an interesting game. It's a 2:30 game. It's in North Carolina. Morris has a 12 touchdown to 5 interception. Mensa, the transfer from Tulane, 24-4 ratio. We've picked Duke several times this year. It's backfired at times. It's worked at times. I picked them when we played Clemson or when they played Clemson. But other times they bit me. So this is a tough one for me. I kind of want to go with the home team, but like you said, I like the story of Virginia, so I'm going to go the Cavaliers as well.
Man, you're not giving me a shot. I swear.
We jump over to the Big Ten. The Iowa Hawkeyes are headed to Los Angeles to take on the USC Trojans. Iowa ranked 21st at 6-3 on the season. USC ranked 17th at 7-2 on the season. Iowa coming off that game against Oregon where they won 18-16, or where they lost 18-16 on a game-winning field goal for Oregon. And then USC coming off a 38-17 win over Northwestern. Spread for this game is 7.5 in favor of USC. Does Iowa have another week in them where they can jump on a team and, typical Iowa having a really good defense and struggling to score points?
I think I'm going with Iowa, to be honest with you. I know they have to travel there, but I was really impressed with what they did with Oregon. And I have a gut feeling, and I'm trying to make some of these picks to where I might, get one over on you. So I think this is the best one in this series.
Yeah, I'm going to go for USC. I just haven't been, Iowa's typically has good defense, but, for the high scoring efficiency that USC has, even if Iowa does have a good defense, like how much are they going to be able to stop and score? You look at their quarterback, Gronowski, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and barely over 1,000 yards on the season. So I'm going to take the Trojans in this one, and we'll see how that one goes. As we continue on, we jump over to the American Conference as the 8-2 Memphis Tigers head to Greenville, North Carolina to take on the 6-3 East Carolina Pirates. Memphis coming off that loss to Tulane 38-32. East Carolina coming off of a win over Charlotte 48-22. Spread is 2.5 in favor of the home team, East Carolina.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Memphis. I don't know. I think that Silverfield's got them in the squad, and they're gritty, and they'll get these wins when they have to. And I don't think East Carolina's all that great. It does suck that they have to go to Carolina for it, but I think Memphis pulls it out.
Yeah, and Memphis was one of those teams they were talking about as a potential playoff team in that group of 5 slot. And, that kind of got derailed a little bit when they lost to UAB, surprisingly, the week after they fired their coach, Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
And then, they bounced back and got the win over USF, who, that's their only conference loss is to Memphis. And then they get the win over Rice, and then they lose to Tulane, who is right up there as well with 1 conference loss. So they're sitting there in the American Conference with 2 losses behind a South Florida team and a Tulane team that right now probably has better odds to get that group of 5 playoff spot over Memphis. But like you said, Silverfield's got himself a squad. So give me the Memphis Tigers in this one as well. We jump back over to the SEC, which could be an interesting game this week. This could be a good game to watch. You have the Texas Longhorns headed to Athens. Texas ranked 10th, Georgia ranked 5th. Texas at 7-2, Georgia sitting at 8-1. Both teams 1 conference loss. Texas coming off a 34-31 win against Vandy. Georgia coming off that win on the road at Mississippi State 41-21. Spread set at 6.5 in favor of Georgia.
Yeah, I'm going Georgia. I think Texas is fighting for their college football playoff lives in this, and I just think they lose it.
I agree here. I'm going to go Georgia as well because I haven't seen enough confidence out of Arch Manning to pick, them to come out and on the road to win in Athens and beat Georgia. They had a close game with Vandy, and I think that speaks more for Vandy than it does Texas. That just shows me how much better Vandy is compared to, the level of Texas. Yeah, Texas is down, but you're seeing Vandy play up another level or another notch, if you will. And so, I don't think Texas has a chance here. Maybe they come in here and surprise some people, and that's what they need to do to keep some of these playoff hopes alive.
Yep.
One of the games you love that we get every week is one of these small conference games as we go over to Conference USA as the 7-2 Kennesaw State Owls is headed to Jacksonville, Alabama to take on the Jacksonville State Gamecocks sitting at 7-3 or 6-3. Both teams 5-0 in Conference USA at the top of the standings. So this game has Conference USA implications. Kennesaw State coming off a win over New Mexico State. Jacksonville State coming off a win against UTEP. Spread for this game is 3.5 in favor for the road team, Kennesaw State.
Yeah, no one cares about Conference USA, okay? So no one cares about it, implications, blah, blah, blah. I'm going with the team that has the best record, Kennesaw State.
I was about to say the Owls on the road. Okay. This one has the potential to be a good matchup. I played with them on last year's college football game. Give me the Kennesaw State Owls as well.
Man, you can't give me that one either. Gummit.
I think I'm about to give you one here in a minute, but we'll see.
Ooh.
As we continue on, we jump over to the Big 12. A 9:15 kickoff as TCU is headed to Provo to take on the BYU Cougars. TCU 6-3, sitting at 3-3 in the Big 12. BYU sitting at 12th ranked 12th, 8-1 on the season, 5-1 in the Big 12. TCU coming off that loss to Iowa State 20-17, which is a little bit surprising. BYU losing 29-7 to Texas Tech. We talked about how, they're a good team, but they, have just barely gotten by. It seems like a lot of the season. Well, they finally found somebody with that Texas Tech offense that has been impressive. Spread for this game, 3.5 in favor of the home team, BYU.
I think BYU plus the points. I think BYU probably beats them by 10 points.
Okay. Yeah, I think TCU's been one of those teams that I've had, picked and had faith in a little bit this year, and they've let me down some. And I've been on the BYU bus all year, so I'm going to take BYU. As we round out things here, Boise State is headed to San Diego to take on the San Diego State Aztecs in the Mountain West. Boise State 6-3 on the season. San Diego State 7-2. This is a 9:30 kickoff. Boise State coming off a loss 30-7 against Fresno. San Diego State coming off a 38-6 loss against Hawaii. So, spread for this game is set at 2.5 in favor of San Diego, the home team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling, Boise State isn't the Boise State of the past. And I think San Diego has a decent squad, so I'm going to go with the Aztecs this time.
All right, here's this one I'm giving to you, Austin. Give me the Boise State Broncos in this one. They've struggled early on in the season, coming into the season ranked, a lot of hype with them, coming off that college football playoff appearance last year. And then they opened the season with a 34-7 loss to Alex Golish in that South Florida squad. But then they bounce back, 3 straight wins. Then they run into Notre Dame. They lose that 28-7, and then 3 straight wins again. And then they meet Fresno. But I'm going to have faith that the Boise State Broncos can bounce back in this one and get the win. They were one of my favorite teams in college football. I know, other than, of course, Arkansas #1. But, I know a lot of people don't like it. But I love the blue field. I have family that live in Boise, Idaho. And so give me the Broncos in this one.
Sweet.
So that about wraps that up. As we get ready to close out, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Hit that like and subscribe button. That way you don't miss when we go live. And as we get ready to wrap up here, you got anything else before we get out of here, Austin?
No, I think we covered it all, man.
Another good show tonight. As we get ready to get out of here, we'll be back on Sunday to talk all things with the basketball game tomorrow night, the football game on Saturday. And, hopefully we'll have potentially Hobbs back, and we're getting ever closer to baseball season, as Hobbs likes to mention. So from Austin, myself, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you on Sunday. Everybody have a great Friday weekend. Hopefully we see the Hogs bring the Golden Boot back home. But with that, we're going to get out of here, and we'll see you on Sunday.